Greetings! Welcome to Affordable Dress Watches Part 2. In Part 1 last week or 2 weeks ago, I covered on dress watches from mostly Swiss manufacturers and also Seiko from Japan, and I feel like I have missed out on watches, or should I say manufacturers, who offer affordable and good quality dress watches, or at least watches which can be used or worn as dress watches in the $500 and below price range. So that's going to be the focus of our video for today, and of course, as you can tell from the header here, the brands are going to be from the land of the rising sun, Japan. For those of you who have read my blog posts earlier, you would be able to recognize the first watch, the watch on the left, which is the MTP1183Q9A. It's also joined by its sibling, the 7A model, which has a white dial. And why I would say you guys may be able to recognize it is because the 9A model, or the model with the slightly gold champagne-esque dial, was my, or should I say is my first ever proper dress watch, which I picked up back in 2016. And truth be told, both of these watches are excellent value for money when you're talking about the price point, which is just about 20 US dollars or 30 Singapore dollars. And when we're talking about the case size, it's a modest 38.5mm case size, which is pretty okay for most wrist sizes. And why I would say it's okay for most wrist sizes and why it can even be considered as an unisex watch is because of the really comfortable 42mm lug-to-lug distance that is present on this watch. If you're talking about the accuracy, it's about plus minus 20 seconds per month, which is acceptable, I would say, for a quartz watch at this price point. And I can testify to you that the battery life is indeed 2 years. And if you're wondering about the thickness, or should I say the thinness of the case, it's only 8.7mm, so no issues having this little guy on your wrist sliding under cuffs. Alright, so let's say you are somebody who has like a 7-inch wrist or just an above average kind of wrist size, and you feel that the 38.5mm watch would be too small or too dainty on your wrists. So here we have the MTP 150L, which comes in 3 variants. I would say the black, the blue, and the white. I honestly think the black and the blue variant look really sharp, as you get Roman numerals on the dial, and you get a beautifully executed minute track. Yes, and also if you look through the pictures really well, you realize something is in common. These watches, or these Casios, do not have a central seconds hand, rather they have a sub-seconds hand, which is shown in the 6 o'clock position, whereby the Roman numeral for 6 is eaten up a bit. So these watches come in with a 40mm case size, which is what I would call the modern average for wristwatch. And they have a more or less comfortable lug-to-lug of about 47mm. So if you are somebody with a slightly smaller wrist, you may be able to pull this one off, as it has a really slender 9.5mm of thickness only, which I've labeled as thinness. And the price range when we are talking about this, it's about 30 US dollars or 45 to 50 Singapore dollars. Personally, I have not seen this model being retailed in Singapore, so I'm not too sure how it works here. You may be able to find some other alternatives around this price point. But when we are talking about the battery life, it comes in with a 3-year battery life, so it's supposedly going to last you a year longer. But in terms of the accuracy, it's only going to be a plus minus 20 seconds per month. So this is the answer to an affordable dress watch, which is slightly out of the dress watch size category, but still stylistically and aesthetically, it's still a dress watch, I believe. So, you want a dress watch, but you don't want a quartz dress watch. You want something that is either automatic or manual winding, but let's just say you want to get an automatic dress watch, cause that's what we are looking at over here. This, or should I say these, four watches are from Seiko's Seiko 5 lineup, and in this Seiko 5 family you can tell there are some characteristics which are pretty much natural to the Seiko 5 family, I would say, such as the sub 38, 37mm case size and the relatively compact lug to lug, and also you should be able to note that at the 3 o'clock position you don't get indies, indice or a marker, rather you get the day date functionality, which means that this won't just be a dress watch but also it can be dually used as your everyday watch. So we have the SNKL 24, 41, which are quite common, I believe, and we also have the SNK 793, which is a slightly sportier model in my opinion. But firstly, the SNKL 24 has a two-tone charm, which some people may find it to be too grandpa or ape or whatever, but I mean, if that's what you like, that's what you wear. And when we look at the SNK 793, I believe that this is probably the most versatile of this lineup because I can honestly see myself getting the bracelet off that watch, putting it on a nice brown leather strap and rocking it as like a everyday wearer or a dressy piece, depending on the kind of strap that goes on with it. And this, I would say, is somewhat the star of the show, the SNX J89. This guy is rare. A lot of people call this a homage to the Rolex Datejust, but I'm not too sure how true that is, but telling from the Jubilee bracelet and the fluted bezel, perhaps it is. Last but not least, my favorite, I would say, out of the four would be the SNKL 41, which has this really subtle sunburst blue dial, and people often say that black is the most versatile color. I believe blue can do it too, albeit being able to be both dressy and sporty at the same time. And if you're looking at a price range, I believe you guys should be able to pick up any one of these from a reputable reseller or retailer from the price range of about 80 to 150 US dollars, and personally, you should not be paying more than 200 bucks for a Seiko 5. So, we are coming closer to the end of today's video. Perhaps you're not really a big fan of Seiko, or you think Seiko 5s are not that fantastic. Perhaps that's your opinion. Different people have different ones. That's absolutely fine. But I have two other brands from Japan to show you. Firstly, Dorian and the Citizen, namely two dressy models, I would say. The Bambino, the version 4 or 5, one of the rather new issues, I think it only came out last year or something, is this Orient Bambino on the left, and we have a Citizen classic, or should I say something that's really charming looking, the Citizen Stiletto on the right. So if we look at the price points, they are quite similar. You can almost put them in the same price tier, being lesser than $200 US dollars here. But in terms of the movement, one can argue that the Citizen, probably with the Eco Drive movement in it, has the more accurate movement. Despite having a slightly larger case size, we have to pay attention to the details on the Citizen and also compare it against the Orient Bambino, whereby the Orient Bambino has would probably have a slightly less significant wrist presence as opposed to the Citizen Stiletto, which has some tasty lugs. I mean, I don't know if you can see it really well, but it has those really angled lugs. Yes, no gentle design over here, but That's something. And also the dial. If you look close enough, I'm sure you should be able to tell that it has a certain pattern, like a guilloche or guilloche kind of pattern. I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm sorry. But one place these two brands, or should I say these two models, can really shake hands is they give you some really weird lugwits. Ask any watch guy or strap maker or whatsoever, and they'll tell you it's a pain trying to get a strap at an odd lug width. Like you want a 20, 22, 24, yes, you can get it, but when you're talking about 17, 15, 19, or 23, these are weird odd numbers, and it's going to be harder for you to find a different or alternative strap for these guys. But ultimately, regardless of all these other factors, if you are to look at a deciding factor or something that really discerns to you, like which should I go with, right? I would say the thickness and the thinness of the case in this case would be something for you to ponder about. 12mm thickness is what the Orient Bambino has, while that kind of case thickness may be acceptable in an everyday watch or even a skin diver or even divers or GMT kind of watches. For a dress watch, which is only 36mm in case diameter, 12mm of thickness will make it very chunky, and as an owner of a SKX 013, I can tell you, yes, it would feel a bit top heavy. But when we look at the Citizen Stiletto, true to its model name, that is a sharp watch. Because of that 4.7mm thinness, this baby is going to slide under any curve. Trust me, it's going to work. And for folks with more slender or smaller wrists, also the Citizen should be the go-to choice, in my opinion. Thank you, you made it to the end of today's video. If you haven't done anything else today, I guess this is an achievement that you lasted all the way. I appreciate it and consider this as a personal thank you from me to you. I truly appreciate your support, and do hit the thumbs up button if you did enjoy today's video, and do feel free to subscribe for more content. And as always, feel free and don't shy from giving any feedback, good, bad, lukewarm, whatsoever. Just let yourself out in the comments or any other form of discourse as well. And also, please do check out the links in my description. You can check out my Instagram page or also my podcast, which I update on like a weekly basis. It's not really watch related stuff, but it's something, a bit of introspection, I would say. Feel free to explore. Until then, stay safe and sound and be happy wherever you are. Thank you.